Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So as you recall, we've been working on this V here, and I know it's been a minute, but I did get the bridge finally mounted. I ended up plugging all 4 of the original holes and re-drilling, and now I've got this thing exactly where I want it. It's located basically by the string through body holes here, and that's got it lined up with the neck and everything's good. So anyway, let's work today mostly on wiring this thing. You remember I've got those Mexican Telecaster parts that are going to go in this thing, and I've got a TBX tone control. I think we'll be able to get through all of that today. And the first thing we've got to do is take off the bridge that I just mounted. Now it can be kind of annoying to take off a part that you just put on, but that's how guitar building goes. There's a lot of fitting, refitting, and all that kind of stuff. Now, where do I want to start today? Well, I think I want to start out with shielding the cavities, which is part of the reason, obviously, why I had to take the bridge off. But why I want to do it is because the stock pickups on that Mexican Telecaster have little lugs that are meant to be screwed into each one of the cavities, and I just thought, well, while I'm at it, I might as well do that. In addition, the stock bridge pickup on a Mexican Telecaster does not have a bottom plate, so it's missing a little bit of natural shielding in that regard, so we're going to replace it all with copper tape. And I know I've done videos before on using the black paint, the shielding paint in some of these cavities, and it works well. I just happen to be out right now. And the copper tape is a little bit more expensive, but it does work quite well, so I'm going to use what I have on hand. Now the way I usually like to do this is I usually like to line the bottoms of each cavity first. Then I'll go around the sides with a piece of tape, and as I do the bottoms, I'm leaving a little bit of a lip up onto the side, so when I wrap that piece around the side, it catches all those pieces and everything becomes one shield. Now you don't have to worry about fitting this stuff exactly. You almost can't screw it up, because every time you overlap a couple pieces of this tape, it connects to the other piece and it becomes one conductive piece. Now it helps to have something to kind of burnish the little corners in there a little bit, and it shouldn't be something that's going to rip the tape, so sometimes I'll use a toothpick and kind of go in and push down along the edges. Sometimes I'll use a little plastic pry tool or something, kind of rub things in, make sure you get all the air bubbles out. Anyway, that's what we're going for. And I'll just keep doing pieces until I get this entire thing covered. Now, one other thing I will do is I'll come over the top of this with a little piece of tape every once in a while, and I'll show you that result after I'm done. And just like that, the copper tape is done. So here's what I'm talking about with the little tabs. I'll do an overlap anywhere there's a metal plate or shielding on a pick guard so that it can contact that and complete a like an encapsulated shield all the way around the pickup. I'll do some little tabs on the control cavity itself as well, but I'm going to repair these 2 holes that someone's pre-drilled. I think after I make my pick guard, I might move the control cavity plate just a little bit, so I don't think those are going to be the perfect spot. I'd rather just start from scratch. But anyway, my little tabs will go just over where I will screw the control plate down. That way it'll sandwich that little piece of copper in between the body and the control plate and really make that ground solid. Now I mentioned the little ground lugs. I already pre-drilled one. There's a little hole inside this cavity now on the bottom of the cavity. And for example, my neck pickup has a little lug that gets screwed down to the bottom of the cavity. So I'll go ahead and do that one on the neck here. I'll just leave that sitting in place for now. I think I'm going to pick guard mount this pickup. There's 2 options on a Telecaster. You can either go the newer style where it mounts floating from the pick guard itself, or the older style where you basically direct mount it to the body, screw it down into the cavity. I'm not sure which way I'll pick yet, to be honest, because I haven't made the pick guard, but I'm leaning towards the more modern style. Now we can take care of the bridge as well. Alright, well hopefully that's the last time I have to take that bridge on and off. And if you're saying, hey, you know, you forgot a ground wire, well actually I didn't, because the way that pickup works, the ground wire on the pickup runs first to a spot on one of the screws, so it connects to the bridge plate, then it runs to that lug that screws into the bottom of the cavity, so it's grounded to the bottom of the cavity. So it's grounded to both the bridge and the cavity, and then it goes into the control cavity itself, so I only have 1 wire coming through instead of 2. And if you're saying, hey, you didn't connect the shield on the neck pickup cavity to the shield on the bridge pickup cavity, well, I did, again, because the two grounds for the pickups connect to each one of those shields, and these will connect to each other on the back of one of the pots. So anyway, credit to Fender on that design. That's not my doing, but I think it's going to work pretty well. Now let's move on to the control plate. So a Telecaster control plate is a pretty simple thing, and the wiring is some of the most basic wiring you'll ever see in a guitar. There's a single volume, a single tone, and a three-way switch. Beyond the jack and the pickups, there's really nothing else involved. Now we can expand our tonal options a little bit in a couple of ways, but one of the most basic ways is the very first mod that Fender really introduced into the Telecaster, which is the TBX tone control. Now this is a set of stacked pots. It's basically a 1 meg pot and a 250K pot stacked together. From the position 0 through 5, it acts basically like a normal tone control. And for all the positions above that, it acts kind of like a tonal boost all around. Some people call it a treble boost, but that's not exactly what it is. Fender calls it a treble bass expander because it kind of boosts all frequencies. As you can see, there's not much wiring to this either. With everything in place, there's still just one wire going from the volume pot to the tone pot. And other than swapping out the output jack wiring, just because I happen to cut one of those wires too short, this is basically the same wiring that came from Fender on the Mexican Telecaster that I parted out. So all of these wires, even the wire going to the tone control, are all factory. Now the TBX tone control is something that you can buy as an aftermarket mod, and Fender sells the kit directly. So I'll link to that. You can buy it on Amazon, or you can get it a number of different places. But just check my description for the link to that, and also for the copper tape. Now until I cut the pick guard, I can't quite go much further. I could wire in the pickups, but I'm hesitant to go that far because I'm not going to screw down the control plate and it would just be flopping around while I'm trying to do the pick guard. So I'm going to wait and do that one of the very last things. Now in between episodes, I'll go ahead and fill these two holes like I told you. That will get me ready to re-drill for the control plate. I guess there's really not much else to do, except I guess I can mount my saddles. Maybe we can get the strap buttons in as well. So let me get the saddles and we'll do those. Now the one thing I like about the modern style bridges is that they do have 6 individual saddles, so you will be able to adjust the intonation of every single string without using a compensated Telecaster bridge. Alright, and while we're here, I will go ahead and put these strap buttons on. I've got the stock Fender strap buttons from the Mexican Telecaster, and there's already some holes drilled for me to do it with. See what I mean about parts flopping around? It's bad enough with the neck pickup flopping around right now. I wouldn't want the control plate doing the same thing, but I'll go ahead and tape this neck pickup down so I don't have this problem if I flip the guitar over again. Okay, well most of my hardware is installed. All my wiring is more or less done, so I think this is a good stopping point. When we come back next time, I'm going to make a template for the pick guard, and hopefully we'll get everything else mounted, get the guitar strung, and set up. Once again, thank you all for hanging out with me on these episodes. I appreciate all the likes and all the comments. Thanks to you guys who have subscribed. I really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys next time.